JKL brought to you by
Telkom, moving with you. Celebrating our heritage, we are stepping into a bold new future. Join us. Telkom, moving with you.
All right, welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at Citizen Television. Tweets coming in very thick and very fast because this show is for you. Anyone who wants to be inspired, not just young ladies, young men, Kenyans across the board, just want to be inspired. This is your show because these three women have literally smashed through the glass ceiling, according to Orie Rogomanduli, your friend. They've smashed through the glass ceiling and made it. The question we're asking you tonight, have women finally broken the glass ceiling in politics following the victories of these women? And these women are Naisula Lesuuda, MP-elect Samburu West, Sophia Abdi Noor, MP-elect Ijara in Garissa County, and right here next to me, Sarah Korere, MP-elect Laikipia North. All of them beat a field of men. That's right, men. And before I go on with my questions, Leonard Mambo Mbotela, former colleague, congratulations to all the ladies, in particular my former colleague, Honorable, he says, Lesuuda. God bless you all. Leonard Mambo.
Thank you.
How 33 years old. This is not fair, huh? 33.
What do you mean it's not fair?
When you were at KBC, did you ever think, I want to go further? I want to be those people that I'm reporting about?
Jeff, yes and no. I was not too sure that being elected was the answer. But very early, when I was at KBC, I was very concerned and very disturbed with the things and the stories that I used to cover from these areas, my area, her area, and you know, all the areas.
Yes.
And I really wanted to be part of the transformation and changing the story. It's not just the negative stories every day of hunger, of conflicts, of, you know, all the negative stories. And I wanted to be part of the positive stories.
Did you feel you could beat it? You could be part of the change?
I did it before I was a nominated senator. I had to quit my job at KBC to go be part of the positive stories, and especially on peace. And I'm glad that it paid off. Finally, it just led, you know, to leadership and everything.
Incredible. 33 years old is incredible. And I know that a lot of issues, we'll discuss those in Samburu land. But Garissa County, first time a woman in the Northeast, first time. They would never ever think of electing a woman. But you said you won in 97, 20 years ago. Yes?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Thank you. In 1997, I contested a parliamentary seat, the Ijara constituency, and it was very rough and difficult. You remember, we had, it was during the El Nino, and it was very difficult. I had to foot from Garissa to Ijara.
How long is that? How far is that?
That's 160 kilometers.
You had to foot it?
Yes. And sometimes when I get a small space, I could ride on a bicycle. And
what made you think you won in 97?
I won the Kanu nomination. I got it. When I won the Kanu nomination, and I came to Nairobi to pick my certificate. I was at Kenya, KICC, got my certificate, got the certificate for my councillors. Then in the evening, through the national television, I just saw His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, then Honorable His Excellency and Daniel Aramoy announcing and saying that my nomination was disqualified. My victory was disqualified because of my culture, tradition. I was not allowed, and my follower was given my certificate.
He didn't say that.
He did. Just check.
Your culture and your tradition.
Yes.
And you had your certificate in your hand.
Myself, I had it. So I had to go around, and I went to Fodasili. Then Martin Shukuku was in his office just waiting because he saw from the television, the news, and he said, if this young girl is bright enough, she'll come to my office and get. He he arranged for me. I didn't pay even a penny. He gave me all the documents. Then I went. I ran on an opposition ticket. The people who now, and the powerful people in the system, now were facilitated properly by the system. They were using helicopters. They were distributing food because it was El Nino and there was no food around.
And you were still walking
I was
or the
still
bicycle?
footing.
Footing, yes.
I was not able to, we had 65 polling stations.
Wow.
I was able to reach only 18 polling stations. So when the results were announced, they defeated me with 100 votes. We lost 2 people with their ballot boxes on their backs to floods.
Oh.
We do not know what was on those ballot boxes to date.
Wow. But you never gave up?
I never gave up.
Amazing, amazing. Sarah Pauletta Korere. It says here, you unseated your bitter rival, Matthew Lempurkel.
Oh, yes.
Unseated. How'd you do it?
Well, Jeff, I just believed in myself. And when I was nominated, you know, affirmative action, it actually gave me a platform so that the people of Laikipia North can sample leadership from a woman. And when I was nominated, I just saw a gap in Lempurkel's leadership. And I concentrated in providing the alternative leadership. And that is how I decided to run for this seat. Because initially I'd contemplated running on Laikipia Women Rep, which of course is what I tried in 2013, but got a nomination when it became clear that as URP and TNA, we had to support one person. So I think that's how I got into it.
When you beat him, did he congratulate you?
Well, Jeff, I was running against 5 other who, of course, were not counting me as a competitor.
They weren't?
Yes, because
it's not just running and winning. There's been no other woman in Samburu County who ran and even lost. And I think even just contemplating to run in itself is a whole, it's a whole, process.
Yeah.
And so to run and believe in yourself, that actually I can be able to convince the electorate to vote for you as a member of parliament. And when I say run and win, of course we have colleagues who have run for women rep seats, but they're male perceived seats.
Yes.
Because there it was perceived that it is a man.
So how did you convince them?
It was not
Naisula,
easy.
how did you convince
It
them?
was not easy because, as you say, they start saying, look, she doesn't have children. So why does she need to go to parliament to make money? And she has no children to feed. If she goes to parliament and get pregnant and go to for maternity, who will be your MP then? And a lot of other very nasty things that you cannot say.
You can say?
There's some I can't say.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't say. But I must say, and I must congratulate, and I must thank the people of Samburu West constituency and even Samburu County, because they all rallied, around and gave us the chance.
Yeah.
Because they allowed to listen, they accepted to listen to issues. And I think that's generally what we're seeing in the country, across the country. Kenyans are ready to listen to issues and what you sell to them and everything, because if it was just about, as she says, rubbished, young girl, nothing and everything. Yeah. So they were ready to listen to issues. But I also say our past record from, as I said, when I quit KBC and worked with the community, when I was nominated, I worked just as much as any other elected leader. And up to when they can be convinced that, hello, whatever you're saying, it does not count. So I believe, and that's what I must say, that any new legislature who's being convinced that hard work does not pay, that working for your people does not pay and wait to bribe them the last minute, of course that is there, but please work for your people. Just work and it will pay off. Yeah, absolutely.
It's stories, all of you. Sophia Abdi, the biggest issue right now in Garissa County, is it water? Is it health? Is it FGM? And I know all of you have those issues. What's the biggest issue?
And the biggest issue in Garissa, and particularly my constituency, Ijara, is water. and I've worked in that constituency over 28 years. And I founded a non-governmental organization, and I felt that it was only important to be with the people and work on behalf of the people. The people are very innocent. They are disadvantaged. They do not get services from elsewhere, including the government. It was very rare for the people of northern Kenya to get services from the government. And
but what about since devolution? Has it happened?
Things are changing slowly, but even with devolution, and for the last 9 months, I've been doing water tracking to people because we had a very bad drought. As I'm speaking to you right now, there is very bad drought, and we have water pans that the community and wildlife use together. And if you go and see that the kind of water the people of Ijara are taking and drinking, and unfortunately the kind of diseases that are within the community, particularly the under 5 and the old age, is something that you cannot believe. And water is an issue that personally has forced me to see what we can do about water in the constituency. Then health issues, road, mention anything is an issue in the whole of, not only in Ijara, but the whole of northern Kenya. And the organization, Womankind Organization, is an organization that focuses on issues of food security, water, girl child education, and it is an integrated program. And I've done a lot in terms of putting up structures like schools. I have an orphanage center for girls that hosts 250 girls in the center. Those are orphans and vulnerable girls. And over 50 of those girls have completed the universities, and they're back assisting the community. Because of those track record is what, you know, is giving me that opportunity to.
But the real big trouble, especially for the last 4 years, is security. You know, Jeff, without security, you can actually not even, you know, discuss any meaningful, you know, debate with the community, because Laikipia North is a cosmopolitan, you know, sub-county or constituency. And for the last 4 years, we've had a lot of raids, not just with the white ranchers. You know, in Laikipia North, they are what we call group ranches. So the communities live in group ranches. And there's been a lot of attacks from, the, you know, our neighbors, Samburu, Baringo.
Those people there?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And Isiolo. And it's not very, you know, it's not very easy when you go to address the villagers and you get that the whole village has been, you know, evicted. They have become IDPs in another location. So by the time we were going to the election, most parts where they were my strongholds were targeted. So not just asking for the vote, it was even difficult for me to go around asking for those votes.
Because of insecurity?
Because of insecurity. And the bullet was the order of the day. One day when we were in a meeting, you could hear, you know, fire exchange between bandits and the police officers. So it was very difficult operating in Laikipia. And everywhere you go, you could see the desperation, you know, among the citizens. They are so desperate. They don't know, okay, we are in a meeting today. You don't know whether all of them would be alive tomorrow. You don't know who you are going to bury next. I remember within that campaign period, I've buried 4 of my, you know, my chief campaigners who were just killed by bandits. So it was very difficult.
Sarah, are you going to be able to deal with that as a woman, as a legislator? Will they listen to you? If none of your opponents have congratulated you, will anyone listen to you?
Well, Jeff, I believe the people will listen to me because the citizens themselves are tired. And again, when I have somebody like Naisula, because her constituency neighbors mine, who, you know, who campaigned on a platform of peace and peaceful coexistence with other people, we should be able to convince our people, because that's why they voted for us. Mainly, I campaigned on an agenda of peace and a peaceful coexistence. So I believe I'll be able to reach out. I'll be able to have these people listen to me, and we'll also be able to work with our neighboring colleagues. And I would also say that luckily, though it's an assumption, but I think it's an assumption that's almost true, a lot of these warlords are not in power now. So I believe with the very sober leadership, because I don't think there's any woman, unless a very crazy one, who thinks you'll thrive well under conflict.
Yeah.
So I believe with time we'll be able to bring it under
Naisula, you bring a
control.
lot of experience in this because you helped found something called the Peace Caravan, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. First of all, tell us why you helped found it. What was the reason?
Thank you, Jeff. As I said, I was behind the cameras half the time, just like you. So, you know, you're assigned to report stories of, you know, our areas, and mostly Samburu because that's where I come from. And half the time at that time, we were in so much conflict with the Pokot community. And half the time when you read also news, you know, you read today and it says 1 person dead, 2 people dead, 3 people, and it's not such a big deal. Until there's a day in like Kipia, the Kanampio massacre, over 50 people died. You know, over. We don't know how many really. And they count the bodies. And then I just saw how both us pastoralists and also even government do not value life of those people. Even us, and that's why I had to tell even my own people that we have to start valuing life. And they were all buried using the that excavator, put in one hole and close. And that's the day, you know, I just said, I cried when I read news, and I said, you know what, this is it. I have to go and talk to my people and tell them, and that's what Sarah has said. And I even want to use this show to tell both, all our communities that live there, that we are ready to work together so that there has to be an end to a continuous sort of, you know, of conflict and everything. Because really, I don't want every time that His Excellency the President is in my constituency is to request for KPR, is to request for more guns, is for this community to ask for more guns for this one and more gun, while every other community in Kenya is guarded and protected by the police. But for us, and when we have to be said, all Samburus are bandits. You know, we also have to stop even the use of that word, that bandits, you know. Every other community has a criminal, but we never hear a whole community being branded as bandits. And that's what I also spoke to my community even then, and I will help my colleague here, and we will have to deal with it. And also, seriously, Jeff, and we have a very big task. We're just, right now in like Kipia, where she comes from, there's a security operation going on. And even when when we were founders of the Peace Caravan, we said people that we lead and people who look up to us can actually listen if we talk to them and we speak to them. Yesterday, 2 young children were shot by the police. And it's very, very sad. Just because that police officer probably thought all Samburus are bad and they're all invaders and they're all, you know, or I'll say Pokot. And I would hate that any other community can be branded to be bandits and to be all those things. Well, so I really hope that, you know, that is one of the things I still want all our pastoral areas, and I hope it will come from women leadership, that people, we can all speak to our people, and I believe they will all listen to us. Also, government to give us the opportunity and the chance to speak to the people, so that, because if conflict continues to thrive, as Sarah said, I will not be able to deliver on my development agenda, and I'll be judged on the security and the peace. I'll be judged on that.
Speaking of communities being branded, up north, they think all of you people are Al-Shabaab. That's what they say. I'm not saying it. That's what they say.
Yeah, of course.
Being labeled, stereotypes.
Sure.
How bad is insecurity where you are?
Very bad. And the whole of northern Kenya, security have been bad. And particularly, if I say northern Kenya, northeastern province, and as I'm speaking to you, my constituency is under curfew. And when we were running during our campaign, we were doing our campaigns under curfew.
So you couldn't do it after a certain hour?
Yes. After 6, we were not doing any campaign. And that's the only time, you know, the pastoralist community could come back home. And that was the only time you could sit with them and talk to them. But unfortunately, that did not happen. Just like Naisula is saying, and, you know, naming a whole community and saying that they're either bandits or Al-Shabaab is giving us a problem. What we feel is every community in this country have criminals. And any criminal can be looked after by the security arms, but protect the people, the community. Look at what's happening in my own constituency. The pastoralists are suffering because of the drought. They've all gone to Boni Forest, where there is pasture and water. Now they are told to come out the Boni Forest, and the security want to bomb Boni Forest. The little livelihood that is left for the community, they are being thrown out from the forests. Yeah. I don't know where they are going to, because there is no arrangement from the government. They do not have preparation, no water, no grass, nothing. If you are bringing your people, and these are your community, and this is the government, then you need to do preparation so that you move them out. Take them to a place, a temporary place, then do all the security need. I believe and I trust and I believe completely 100% that security is the most important thing in our country.
Tell me something. You know, I don't even know why you people ran for office. These problems you're telling me, I would never do it. I could never. This is ridiculous. Where are you going to start, Sarah? Where are you going to begin? What?